Manchester United 2, Liverpool 1. I'm joined by Stephen Howson. How good was that?
It was very good. The sort of good way you almost kind of want to downplay it. Because it's probably not repeatable. It was a little bit of a smash and grab. I was shocked at the stats when I had a look at the stats, and we completed like 170 something passes, I think. Rashford only completed like 4. Even like, I think Varane only 16 or something like that. Like a mad few amount of passes that we actually had. But we looked dangerous and we looked like we were purposeful. And yeah, sometimes it isn't all about just possession, but we created some good opportunities to score.
How surprised are you as well, the turnaround there? Because it's not just the last 2 games. It's basically been 10 months now where United have been anywhere between bang average and absolutely woeful. And then all of a sudden, 6 days later, 7 days later, United are outplaying, beating one of the best teams in Europe. I genuinely...
Perfect. So I'm going off in there then. I'll try and get it.
Okay. Can you believe how quick that's turned around? Sorry, from last week. Was that alarm just the sound of Old Trafford in the distance by any chance, still bouncing?
Burning. Yeah, it's a huge turnaround, but sometimes you expect that as well. And I quite like how a lot of the media was, when you've seen managers come in and drop the hammer on players, if it's not United, the press love it. Oh, a disciplinarian. Look what he's doing. Oh, he's made them come in on a day off. Oh, he's made them run. The press usually laps that shit. If Klopp had done that, they might have all took their pants off, right? But because Erik ten Hag's done it, you had the usual shit outlets getting on sports scientists to come on and say how it was bad and how it's like the game has evolved and blah, 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 blah. But look at the response he's just got. Is he going to get credit for what he did last weekend now? He should do.
Yeah, he should. Who do you think were the top performers there? I thought Martinez was absolutely fantastic. Who did you think was good?
I'm ready to create the cult of Martinez, honestly. Like, he is the character that we've been lacking. He's a quality footballer, but he is a shithouse. We haven't had that sort of character in the side since Ander Herrera was allowed to go. Yeah. Watching in the first half, anytime Salah came near him, he was just getting a 2-handed shove away. There was no need for it whatsoever, and I loved it. And I think that sort of stuff, as we saw with Núñez the other day, it gets into players' heads and it can wind them up and it can take them off the game. And that might not have happened with Salah today, but it's gonna happen with someone. And I also think he's gonna have a red card as well every single season, and I'm here for it. And I'll defend it, and it'll be poetic whenever he does it. But I actually thought Varane was probably my man of the match. I thought there was a level of composure that he brought, his organisation. There was a real camaraderie across that back line where they looked like they were. You see them celebrating all the small little victories and tackles that they were having. Like, I don't even remember the last time you see United doing that. And that was really good to see. I liked watching that. I think it was a real positive trait. Scott McTominay had a good game. These are the games Scott McTominay generally does do well in, but he really did well in that tonight. Marcus looked bright, looked like him running at Trent is something that I highlighted in my preview. That's a one winner sort of matchup whenever you have it, and again that proved fruitful. But I thought it'd be wrong to sort of diminish what Alanga did in the build up for that goal. His drive, his running off the ball, his one-touch play, there's a hell of a lot of positives. United looked so purposeful in the final third, and Jadon Sancho, like Rio's just said it on the live we've just done, it took him back to the cages. Like, that was just pure power league moving. So I think there's a lot of positives from that, but you have to own it, you have to celebrate it, and then you have to go to work tomorrow. I think that's what United need to do, because consistency is something that we've failed to achieve since Ollie's sort of temporary reign, really. I think if we can get any sort of consistency of performance, I wouldn't have been happy, but I would have been all right if they'd have actually ended up getting an equaliser. Because I saw such a good, like, if it had been like we just ran out of steam and they ended up getting back into the game, I'd have still took a lot of positives from that game, from the way that we started and the purpose and the intent that we started. We've outran them. We've run out like 50% more sprints than they've done tonight. You're not hearing about Manchester United very often outworking teams, and we just outworked the team that's the benchmark for outworking teams. That's massive for me. That's a mental thing. That's not an ability thing. That is a pure mentality thing, and I'm very, very happy with that. But you now have to take it into Southampton. That's a game where now we played without the ball tonight. We are not going to be playing without the ball against Southampton. Can we be as purposeful? I actually think the way we play our defence might improve if we're allowed to hold the ball a little bit, like I believe we will against Southampton. And having Casemiro brought into that team should level up the playing through the thirds. I'm excited about that. But then you've still got a massive question mark about what to do. Rio seemed to sort of be, I don't know if he was sort of lining us up for the disappointment. Disappointment for some people will be happy with it, I think. But he seems to be really sort of edging on that. Ronaldo thinks he'll go now. I think that he thinks that game there tonight has shown that United will probably allow him to leave. So I don't know if he's been having a word with him or whatever, but he seemed quite confident in what he was saying.
Yeah, it was one of those performances where, especially the fact that he brought Martial on first, who I thought had an excellent 45 minutes. Like, he looked like a number 9. The ball came into him, it stuck. He didn't get bullied around by Van Dijk. The touch in the build-up for Rashford's goal was excellent. I thought he looked really good, Martial. But the fact that he was the outlet, just back from injury, when Ronaldo's been fit for all season, all pre-season, and all season, that was a signal, wasn't it, that you're not the main man. You're probably not even the second choice anymore.
Yeah. I think that was a very interesting one as well. And I've written Martial off. I think anyone with a brain written him off after what he did last season, and then the stinker that he dropped while he was at Sevilla. But I got to say, he looked bright. Obviously not perfect, but like he did look bright. And Ten Hag clearly preferred him over bringing on Ronaldo. So whatever he's seeing in training, whatever he's doing in training, for me, it does look like you're now getting to what we all believed could be the starting 11. And for whatever reason, managers have always shied away from dropping the likes of Maguire and Shaw and certainly Ronaldo. He made a massive call tonight, dropping Cristiano Ronaldo, dropping Luke Shaw and Maguire. And I'll be honest with you, I think even dropping Fred in this game and playing Eriksen was a risk. And it paid off. Yeah. Like, Eriksen just brings such a level of calmness and quality. If it's Casemiro, Eriksen and Bruno plays like he's played tonight, that sort of mature performance that you got out of him, Jesus, we should be a force. I'm still worried up front. I still think we have to bring in another forward. I don't think we've got the depth or the quality to compete. I don't trust Martial, regardless of how bright his season started. And I can't say I fully trust Marcus either at the moment. I don't think Elanga's got the quality to lead the line. And Sancho's yet to do it over full season. So you can't really trust any of our 4 forwards. The one that you could trust the most is the one most likely going to leave. So I think you've definitely got to bring in reinforcements up front. The midfield is actually starting to look like it's decent, because now you might see Donny van der Beek as your backup 10 and Fred and McTominay as your backup 6 and 8. And it might be Casemiro, Eriksen, Bruno as your forward lineup. And I think most United fans will take that. I think you can deal with McTominay in small doses and Fred in small doses, and maybe doing what he did tonight, which I don't actually think worked, but that's not to say it wouldn't work in the future, which is bringing on Fred when you need a little bit of legs. And I think that probably pay off in the future for him.
Just a quick point on Malacia. It was so refreshing to see a player go for a tackle, miss it, spin round, sprint as hard as he can, and win the second tackle. Like Luke Shaw, if he goes for that first tackle, they might as well be, he might as well get a ticket home. Like, his recovery, his willingness, his drive, he was raw, he made mistakes, but he just tried his absolute hardest the whole game. It was so good to see that on the left-hand side, wasn't it?
It's what we've ever wanted. Yeah. My main gripe with Luke Shaw is that he's an attacking fullback. Attacking fullbacks get caught out of position, but he jogs back, and that Luke Shaw's idea of defending is to jog back into the area where we're being attacked. It's not to get back in front of that ball, turn and face it, and defend it. And that was my main gripe with him. My main gripe with Harry Maguire is that he never checks his shoulder, and I don't think he was much of a communicator and a leader in the back line. I think he's very flat-footed and susceptible to getting caught on the counter. I think Malacia, Varane, and Martinez is 3/4 of the way to a good back line. I still think we can improve on Delo at right back. If it's Munier, I'm not sure. I haven't watched enough of him to really pass comment on that at the moment. I'm going to do a scout report on him this week, though, so I'm probably going to do a bit of cramming over the next few days. But United are starting to get the basis of a good defence. I think the goalkeeper's still an issue. I think right back's still an issue. I could easily make a case for at least one more midfielder to come in. If it was Milinkovic-Savic and you had Bruno and Eriksen in there as well as Casemiro, now I think you start looking like a good midfield. When you look at the depth that Liverpool have got, that's not a mad sort of extra number of players to have. Yes, then you need to bring in a Gakpo or an Antony, and I could still even make a case for a striker as well. So there's still 4 or 5 signings that United need. Not going to happen in one window. We need to get where we've got, get the mentality right of the squad, identify the targets that you want to bring in next early, and then work on bringing them in from now. Window ends in 2 weeks. All right, no problem. Thank you very much, or a week and a bit even. Thank you very much. Cheers, no problem. Sorted, and we'll buy you next year. Done. Get it organised now. So as soon as next year rolls round, or when did you do your business? Or October last year. Sound.
Lastly, on Ten Hag, I think it's important to note that Rangnick never managed to turn that kind of malaise around. Even though Ten Hag, we've experienced it those first 2 games, the fact that he has made them turn up for this game is somewhat easier said than done it, because you think, well, it's Liverpool, they don't need a push. But we saw last season they had no power to turn up against Liverpool, despite the whole rivalry and all that. Just getting him to do that is a big start to his sort of career at United, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's probably easy for him knowing that he's been backed to a long contract. He wasn't just there for 6 months and some other guy was going to be coming in. But yeah, he still had to go and do it. And I think he's gone and done it in a big way by being able to select his own players and being brave. That could have backfired. Dropping Ronaldo. I don't think dropping Maguire was the risk. But dropping Ronaldo, asking Alanga and Rashford and Sancho to lead your line against Liverpool, who, like, as the commentators like to remind us all the way through the game, haven't lost in 2022. Like, that is something where you go, yeah, this could absolutely go tits up here for us. But it didn't. Yeah. So he gets to walk in, bang his chopper onto the physio table when he walks into that dressing room and be like, right, are we fucking having it or what? That's what the problem is sometimes as a manager. You've got to make ballsy calls and they have to come off. But if they do come off, you're going to get such a big buy-in for the next ballsy call that you make. Yeah. And it's those ballsy calls in succession that are going to start making us know what Erik ten Hag's football looks like. But that first half, that first 30 minutes, I would say, until Liverpool got a foothold in the game, which they was always going to do, by the way. As soon as that first 30 minutes was up, they were always going to come into it. But what I saw in that first 30 minutes, one-touch football, intent, aggression, and sometimes we reduce football analysis. It's very, I think it's shit, very reductionist to sort of say they wanted it more. Sometimes that is a genuine factor that an opposition is stimulated enough and can cause you problems. And just saying they wanted it more is a bit reductionist. Yeah, but did that mean that you misplaced passes? Did that mean that you didn't do your job? Did that mean that you didn't switch off? I think United did want it more tonight, but they also played with some quality. And the way that you attack Liverpool successfully is how we successfully attack Liverpool. And it's clearly far easier said than it is done, because they've been very successful in the last few years playing this exact same style. The things that they're vulnerable to, we exploited them and we did very, very well with them. So massive points all around. You have to now turn this into consistency. You've got to go and smack up
Southampton
and probably get some goals on the board as well to sort of redress the goal difference shit that we've been dealt. And then put Arsenal in the place. Arsenal have had the easiest opening set of fixtures. Statistically, The Athletic did an article on it, and it was like Arsenal's set of fixtures are basically a fucking gimme. They've won their opening set of fixtures. Now they think they're going to win the fucking lot. So Arsenal need putting in their place big time. So I think if United can go back to back with 2 wins, shut the fucking Arsenal fans up, that would be a very, very positive thing for us. But yeah, 3 wins back to back is what we need to be thinking about now. Yeah. Consistency now. That was a great start. Well done. it means if we don't fucking beat Southampton and Arsenal, we might as well have lost tonight.
Yeah.
If we only pick up 3 points out of that 9, it's clearly not good enough, is it? So now it's about consistency.
Spot on. Cheers for joining us today. Manchester United 2, Liverpool 1. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in a bit.